Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambeau channel. Is Tesla about to announce acceptance of XRP for payment to buy their vehicles? Well, the crypto media has brought this up specifically, choosing to throw XRP into the mix, and I'd say at least on that front for good reason. XRP is blazing fast. You have a settlement finality within 3 to 5 seconds, and it's immutable. And from an energy perspective, which is what Tesla and Elon Musk have made very clear is of paramount importance to them, it's almost zero energy used. It's like compared to Bitcoin, there is no comparison, basically. But it's not the only cryptocurrency to consider. There are certainly others out there. If you're just comparing, cryptocurrencies that are going to lead to less of an environmental impact. So there's this headline from Cointelegraph. Which green cryptocurrency is Tesla likely to add for payments? And so, again, I'm not even going to tease you. XRP is one of the ones that they threw in the mix along with several others here. So let's talk about this. But first, I do want to be clear. I don't have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who makes YouTube videos as a super duper fun hobby about Ripple and XRP and unicorns and crypto in general. And that's all that's going on. Now, obviously, this is mostly a unicorn-centric channel. That's most of what my videos are about that. But from time to time, I like to dabble in like some of the more crypto stuff too, which is what this one is. We'll get back to the unicorn stuff tomorrow. Don't worry. So for those of you that may have missed this, I'll just read Elon Musk's statement from yesterday. I think most people know, but if you don't, then this isn't going to make sense. Elon Musk has wrecked the planet, like the crypto world, basically. Not that, actually. Global prices, yes, they tanked starting yesterday, and we're still feeling the reverberations of that today. But I still think this is just going to be a temporary thing. I still suspect we're in a bull market here. But here's what Elon Musk tweeted out that led to all this complete chaos in the markets. Here, let me just pull it up. One sec here. All right, Tesla and Bitcoin. Tesla has suspended vehicle purchases using Bitcoin. We are concerned about rapidly increasing use of fossil fuels for Bitcoin mining and transactions, especially coal, which has the worst emissions of any fuel. By the way, let me pause right there. And I didn't mention this the other day, but so their cars, Tesla cars, they're electric, right? Where's that electricity come from? Hear me tapping? Hear me tapping on there? Coal! All right, anyway. Cryptocurrency is a good idea on many levels, and we believe it has a promising future, but this cannot come at great cost to the environment. Yeah, so they've got their coal-powered cars, but I did look, and that's why, I'm not attacking them. I'm not trying to get anything political either. I promise I'm not. I'm not going to preach politics. Whatever you believe on having to do with the environmental aspect of it, that's fine. We can all be friends. I'm not going to preach at you, but if this is a problem for Bitcoin, it's a problem for their cars. Fair? Even though, there are arguments for clean coal. I'm not getting into that. I'm just, again, not getting into the politics of it, but I'm saying energy for Bitcoin, energy from coal, or energy from Bitcoin, energy used for Bitcoin, energy used for the Tesla cars, a lot of it's coming from the same place. It just is. Anyway. And then Elon Musk wrote, Tesla will not be selling any Bitcoin, and we intend to use it for transactions as soon as mining transitions to more sustainable energy. We are also looking at other cryptocurrencies that use less than 1% of Bitcoin's energy per transaction. All right. And so what are we looking at here? Well, there are a number of cryptocurrencies. So here's how the Cointelegraph starts us off. On May 13th, Elon Musk sent shockwaves through the crypto markets by revealing that Tesla will no longer accept any Bitcoin payments for cars until Bitcoin mining becomes more environmentally sustainable. Musk notes that while Tesla waits for Bitcoin to move to renewable energy, the firm will be looking at other cryptocurrencies that use less than 1% of Bitcoin's energy per transaction. The tweet sent much of the crypto community into a frenzy of speculation as to what other crypto assets Tesla may be exploring. So just to be clear, they said less than 1% of Bitcoin's energy transactions, energy per transaction. That's what they're looking at. XRP fits that. Oh, yes, it does. A social influencer, the Cryptic Poet, told his 45,000 Twitter followers that he predicts Tesla will either use Ethereum or XRP. However, Massimo pointed out, Massimo pointed out that if Tesla uses Ethereum in its current state, which uses proof of work just like Bitcoin does, it might as well be staying with Bitcoin. Now, according to analysis by TRG data centers, Bitcoin is estimated to average around 700 kilowatt hours or kWh per transaction, while it uses around as much power each year as the Netherlands. Its annual carbon footprint is closer to Singapore's, according to a Digiconomist, presumably due to the use of cheap renewable power for a considerable proportion of mining. And then note, estimates of power consumption per transaction are controversial, so they are simply used here as a very rough comparative tool. Yeah, and that's the other thing. In terms of trying to get to the truth of all this, whether you're talking about the truth of like environmental impact of Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency or Tesla or vehicles in general, people, even if given the same data, they'll manipulate it. So it's actually hard to get to the truth of this stuff. It's annoying, but people manipulate data to fit their narratives and what they want to be true. Or even if they don't care, they want you to think it's true sometimes. So what about Ethereum? Well, I don't really want to read through that. I think I'd say Massimo pretty well made it clear why that's a problem. What about XRP, though? Would XRP be used by Tesla? Well, here's what they write in Cointelegraph. XRP could be Tesla's choice in the immediate term, depending on the SEC lawsuit, as all XRP tokens were pre-mined and XRP's transactions incur a tiny amount of energy at just 0.0079 kWh, kilowatt hours, according to TRG data centers. XRP regularly puts out Ripple. I was trying to correct it for them. They use Ripple and XRP interchangeably, even though they know better, and it grinds my gears. And so I tried to correct it there, and this time I think they were actually talking about Ripple. I forgot that was the point. Ripple regularly puts out blog posts and releases touting how energy efficient it is in comparison to proof of work blockchains. Yeah, and that's true, and they have been putting out information about that for many years. So again, for comparison, XRP, 0.0079 kWh, Bitcoin over 700. It's not even close. And so they go on to cite other cryptocurrencies that must be in the mix if they're really looking at every coin that's using less than 1% the energy of Bitcoin. Well, here are some others right here. They got Stellar Lumens, Algorand, Dogecoin. I just learned that yesterday when this all came up. I didn't realize, because look, the technical attributes of Dogecoin, I do not care. Oh my God, I don't care. But yesterday, as a result of all this, I did read something that showed that really Dogecoin, assuming it's accurate, I didn't fact check it admittedly, but it's here. It's in this list from Cointelegraph too. It's probably true. It's not that far off from being as energy efficient as XRP, which was just surprising me. But if that's an actual fact, then okay, super duper. So you got all these coins, and I think HBAR is another one actually. Actually, you know what? I think you'd have to fact check me on this. I think HBAR is more energy efficient than XRP even. And so, but here's the thing: when you talk about energy efficiency with a coin like XRP that's already so incredibly energy efficient, you can have a coin that's 1,000 or 1,000,000 times more efficient than XRP, and it functionally doesn't change anything in the real world because it's already using almost no energy. So cool, it's awesome. Like if HBAR really is that much better in terms of energy efficiency, in terms of like the multiplier on top of XRP, cool. But XRP already almost uses no energy. So it just reaches a point where it doesn't matter. It's the same thing where it's like, well, what if there's a coin that's faster than XRP one day? And I'm like, yeah, what if? What's it matter? Because once XRP is the global standard in terms of being a bridge currency, and it settles in 3 to 5 seconds, if you have a coin that comes in that settles in 1/10 of a second, you're not changing. You're functionally not changing anything. And plus, once you factor in that local rails are always going to take longer than that anyway, you can throw in a coin that settles with finality in 1/10 of a second if you could magically pull that off. And it doesn't mean that you're going to supplant XRP for that particular use case. So just as it is the case for that, it's kind of similar for energy. It's just that you get a point where it's so close to perfect that improving upon it doesn't yield that much of a better result. The world's not going to functionally matter. And so which cryptocurrency would be used? Well, I don't know why people think that it might just be one. Why couldn't it be many more than one? If there are this many cryptocurrencies, like if you were Tesla, Why wouldn't you just accept as many forms as payment as possible, as long as it fits what the metrics that you think are important in terms of environmental sustainability? Well, why not just add all of them then? Why not? It's crypto adoption, because Elon Musk and Tesla, they have cited how they are pro Bitcoin and crypto in general. They're long crypto in general. Well, why not just open it up for all of them then? See, that would seem to make a whole lot more sense to me. Now, I don't know if they're going to, but I will say there's not a chance in hell that XRP is going to be allowed to you're not going to be allowed to use XRP to purchase a car from Tesla until there is clarity and finality in this SEC versus Ripple case. It's just not going to happen. There's not a chance in hell. But once you have that, I could see that happening quickly if this is something that they want to move on. I think that's perfectly possible and reasonable here. And then you get into this too, and I wanted to highlight this because I didn't have an opportunity to yet, but Elon Musk also shared this. He wrote, and this is from 15 hours ago, so he wrote, energy usage trend over past few months is insane. And he's talking about Bitcoin here, and here's the screen grab that he shared. Now, sure, it has been going up. Let me take a sip of water, one sec. I'm talking too much, damn it, but this is a YouTube channel. That's what I do. Anyway, so energy usage trend over past few months is insane, he writes. Now, Michael Saylor, the founder and CEO of publicly traded company MicroStrategy, which has just spent like infinite money on Bitcoin. They've just been buying a crazy amount. He jumped in, and actually maybe I had it in this thread over here. I had it somewhere. Here we go. Michael Saylor does not agree with Elon Musk's take on all of this, and I wanted to share this with you because it's an interesting back and forth. So let's talk about this. And so Elon Musk is highlighting that over the last few months in particular, since they began accepting Bitcoin as payment, the cost for transaction, or the energy cost for transactions has gone up, right? Well, they had to know that was going to happen. They had to. And so that's why I still think that it's really more just a game of optics. We're like, okay, now it's happening. It doesn't look good. We really just, it's so out of sync with what we're positioning our coal-powered cars to be looked at as. And so we got to get rid of the coal-powered Bitcoin. We, of course, keep selling the coal-powered cars. But, if we're going to if we're going to keep that, trying to trick the people into thinking that none of the power for our coal-powered cars comes from coal, which is the message. I think if you ask the other, like the typical person out there, where's the power, come for these Tesla vehicles? I think that typically you just get it's electric, so it's energy, it's clean, and I think that most people don't think beyond that necessarily. But not that all energy for it has to come from that, but I'm just saying that some of it does. Like we'd all agree on that. At least some of it does. And so it's okay for the cars, bad for Bitcoin. Okay, but the people have decided that what Tesla is doing is good, and right or wrong, the optics of it are favorable. We know that the optics of what's happening with Bitcoin, not favorable from an energy perspective. Whether you think that's right or wrong, that's the calculus that's being considered there. And so Michael Saylor doesn't like this and he's got heavy Bitcoin bags along with his company MicroStrategy. And here's what he said: the estimated electricity consumption per CBECI.org year to date increased 40% during the same period that the network grew 100% in assets, meaning that energy efficiency dramatically improved during this time period. Bitcoin is becoming less energy intensive as it scales. Okay, so that's true. But it's using more energy. It's using more energy, and so even if I'll take him at his word, it's becoming if he's saying it's fine, like per transaction, he's saying that it's going down fine, but there are more transactions. So it's already not an environmentally friendly crypto, and that's just the truth. And then Elon Musk responded to that, and he shared a bunch of links here. And I don't want to go too far off the rail, so I'm not even going to pull them up for this video. But Michael Saylor really dug in his heels here, and he shared the following point, which is a fine that, like, I like intellectual, open, honest discussion, so this is fine by me talking about this stuff. But you're Bitcoin offers 8 billion people a superior technology to guarantee their human rights to property, as well as a solution to the global problem of inflation and currency devaluation, which creates $10+ trillion in economic damage per year. Isn't the fossil fuel mix second order? Yeah, and well, it depends on what you're prioritizing for. And so here's the chart that he shared. And so you're talking about current annual CO2 emissions globally. This is shared by Michael Saylor. So he shared this thing on the left, and then he shows that Bitcoin's just a tiny percentage of it, 0.13%. And so it does seem strange to me that you'd say that this energy hog cryptocurrency, like to justify its existence purely because it's a small percentage of the total pie. Well, there's a ton of little pieces that make up this big pie. And so couldn't you just argue that if none of those little pieces were as much of energy hog as they are, then you wouldn't have this? Like, so Bitcoin gets the pass, but none of the rest of the little pieces in there get the pass? I'm not so sure the logic follows on that necessarily. But look at the argument he made up here too. He said it offers 8 billion people a superior technology to guarantee their human rights to property. Okay. You could probably find some anecdotal instances of where Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, well, let's just talk Bitcoin, where Bitcoin specifically has ensured somebody their human rights. You could probably anecdotally find something in a number of cases, but this is not happening en masse. And so I think that narrative, I don't think that's a legitimate narrative at this point. Could it in the future ensure such, if globally adopted and more people jumped in, if really globally adopted beyond where it is now? Perhaps, but still, even if all of what he said here is true, even if all of it were true, and I still would dispute what he's saying here in terms of it in any sort of meaningful way guaranteeing human rights. I'm just not seeing that, not in any sort of meaningful, notable way. There'd just be outlier instances, And then he said, as well as a solution to the global problem of inflation and currency devaluation, $10 trillion in economic damage as a result of that. Okay. But I'll agree with you on that part. The damage of inflation, I think we'd probably pretty well all agree on that. But if that's the case, it is the case. So why Bitcoin then? Because look, here's the thing. There's no sort of imperative from some sort of moral perspective in terms of human rights, this or that. It's like Bitcoin has not been adopted as a result of that in any sort of notable way. It's really mostly just speculators. That's the truth of it. Like the almost 100% of this, it's just speculation. It's not people protecting their human rights. And so, given that's the case, like why not just use other cryptocurrencies that don't have this problem? Because mining is not required for a cryptocurrency to get out into the wild. Just look at XRP. There was no mining. You don't need mining. Mining doesn't make a cryptocurrency holy. It simply does not. Now, Bitcoin Maximus wants to pretend that any cryptocurrency that didn't have its origins with mining, it's no longer holy. But once the crypto's out into the wild, who the hell cares how it got there? It's a poor argument. It doesn't make any damn sense. It really doesn't. And so if your argument then is more so about inflation and currency devaluation, yeah, that's legit. I think pretty much everybody in crypto is going to agree about that. But then why Bitcoin, right? Why at all? And so this is, look, I want to be clear. I'm not arguing, because I'm pro Bitcoin, mind you. I'm long Bitcoin. I'm not saying that Bitcoin's a little addition to the pie is going to move the needle at all, regarding the CO2 stuff. I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying if you're going to make an argument that, environmental impact matters, then why would you use a cryptocurrency that is an energy hog like Bitcoin? That doesn't make sense. Now, if you want to make the argument that, and most Maximalists don't want to say this, if you want to make the argument that it's worth harming the environment to whatever degree it additionally is in order to do that, then that's fine. Which seems to be the argument that Michael Saylor's making. He's saying, look, it's only harming this little bit much. Which actually, it's not like that illogical of an argument. I'm just saying if you have a technology where this isn't necessary, we don't even have to talk about this, then adopt that technology. Because it already exists, and we don't need this. But that's not what the market has decided. Until the market decides something like if and when it does, and that's an if, then we don't have to have this conversation. But until then, this is just going to become a bigger and bigger problem for Bitcoin maxis, and they're just going to have to address it because Bitcoin absolutely is an energy hog. So I'd love to hear your guys' perspective on this. Those are some of my initial thoughts on this here. XRP getting adopted by Tesla. Look, maybe multiple cryptocurrencies at some point in the future. Probably not anytime in the immediate future. It could happen here. Depending on how you feel about this environmental stuff, I think that's heavily going to inform your position on this. And so there's going to be people on coming from all sorts of different angles, which is why I didn't come across as preacher or anything like that. I was just sharing some of my own thoughts, and I'm certainly willing to be persuaded here. I'm open-minded, But some people, if it's something they really care about, they get emotional about it, and they're offended if they hear an idea different than theirs. And I'm aware humans behave like that, even though it's silly. That's why I thought I'd mention that. So I'm open-minded. Feel free to persuade me if you care to. But my gosh, I mean, it is true. If you look at the chart, it's almost not 0.13% of total CO2 emissions globally. If this information's accurate, it's not going to change anything. So it isn't. And that's why I was just sharing arguments on both sides. It's not, but there's also a bunch of little instances like that. So it's like, why not be efficient where you can, I guess? Like, why not? Why the hell not? All right, I'll wrap up there. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.